Hi everyone, today we're going to be making a spreadsheet that's going to help us do a bunch of auto loan calculations without having to do the math manually. So I think it'll be super useful. It's something that you could use later in life if you wanted a really trustworthy source for doing some calculations about auto loans. Plus, it'll give you some really good experience with spreadsheets, get you more comfortable with them. They are an important tool in many businesses. All right, let's get started. So first thing I want you to do is, if you haven't already, go to Google Drive and create a folder for personal finance where we can store this kind of thing in it. To do that, you would go to New and then New Folder, call it Personal Finance. In that folder, we're going to create a brand new Google Sheet. Again, you would click on New and then come down to Google Sheets. First thing we'll do when we open it is just give it a name. This is going to be an auto loan calculator. And there we go. I'm going to name mine video version. That way, oh my gosh, what a mess. That way I know which one's which. For me, you don't need to add that to yours. Awesome. Let's get started. So we're going to create one of those amortization tables. It shows every payment and the calculation for it. This is the easiest way to build something like this. So I'm going to start here with the top left corner is month. And actually, before I move on anymore, I'm going to zoom in some so that you can see better what I'm doing. Yeah, I think that's good. And oh, that's a little bit too big. My computer's a little laggy this morning. There we go, that's better. And I'm going to increase my font size. You don't have to do this. It's just going to make it easier for you to see on the screen. I think I'll go to 16. Actually, let's keep it at 12. All right, so I'm going to call this first cell month. So I'm in cell A1, calling it month. In cell B1, I'm going to say principal. And remember, for a loan, the principal is the amount of money you still owe. And then this is the interest payment. So I'm going to do interest pay. So that's the interest being charged each month. And here we'll do principal payment. So this is a new column for us. It just shows us how much of our payment is going towards principal. Then I'm going to skip all of column E and come over here to F1 and then type in loan information. This is going to be the table where we actually put in the loan information that we're going to input. First thing we're going to do is a start date. We're going to give ourselves the ability to tell when our loan is due. So we need to know when is the start date. Next thing we're going to do is the amount of the loan. So this is one of the things you have to decide when you get a loan, is just exactly how much you want to borrow. The next thing is going to be APR. This is another thing that defines the loan, so you'll always have an APR for a loan. And then the third thing is length, L-E-N-G, length, and I'm going to put YRS here for years. How long is the loan for in years? And the last thing is a little bit of a weird one. We're going to call this one extra payment. And what this refers to is, like, if your payment is $280 a month, do you want to make a little bit extra on that every month? So round it up to $300 and pay an extra $20 a month. That we can input this and it'll do the calculations for you. This is a little different. It's hard to find calculators online that will do this work for you. All right, now I'm going to skip a row. So now I'm down F8 and I'm going to do a calculations table. I like to separate these because these are things we shouldn't edit later. The top table are things that we should edit. The bottom ones, things we should leave alone. So we need to first calculate what our minimum monthly payment is. So min-mo payment. Next one down, actual payment. And this will be just adding in that extra payment if we have one. And then total interest. Having a hard time capitalizing. The next one down will be true cost. All right. And the next one down is number of payments. So I'm going to do num payments. And finally, the payoff date. So here we'll have actually figure out when we're going to pay our loan off. Okay, so all that looks good so far. Let's go clean some stuff up. First of all, I'm going to go between F and G and double click and when I get those left-right arrows, or just drag F out to be big enough to have everything inside. I'm going to highlight these two columns, so F and G1, all the way down through the end of the, well, just the first table actually, just this top loan information table, and put some borders around it. And do the same thing for the calculations table and put some borders around it. I'm going to come up here and merge these two top, this loan information one and the calculations heading. These are just titles to our table. And maybe I put in a little bit of backfill to make them look fancy. And a little bit of backfill here. And then change the text to white. That should set them off pretty well. Whoops. All right, so far so good. I'm going to collapse column E down a little bit. I don't need it to be quite that big. And then let's start with the month thing. And let's just say, let's do a start date of today. So let's just say November 2024 and see what it does for us. And it shifts it into this form right here. Notice that on the formula line up here, it puts the actual date in as 11/1/2024. We don't care about the day, we just care about the month for the monthly payments. All right, so I'm going to take this, come over here to cell A2, and this first month will be whatever the start date is. So I'm going to do an equals. Instead of typing it in separately again, I'm going to just click equals and then click on the cell over here, G2, and then hit enter. Now it's going to take whatever is there and put it over here. Next thing I want to do is I want to add 1 month to this date and go all the way down. Now I could type in December and January and just keep going, but then it wouldn't update itself. There's a really cool function called eDate. So equals, and it's EDATE parentheses. What this does is it adds 1 month or a certain number of months to a date. So it needs 2 parameters to make it work. So eDate says, what's your starting thing right there? So start on that cell. And then how many months are you adding to it? And we're going to add 1 month to it. And close parentheses, enter. And you can see right now it went from November, which is 11, to 12. If I come back up here and I change this to 5 months, it will be 5 months in the future from this one. So it's kind of a cool little function to have. And we'll go ahead and drag this all the way down. And let's do, like car loans are usually up to 6 years. So let's take it up to 8 years just so we have plenty of room in there. And 8 times 12 is 96, plus the first thing in our table is 97. So we're going to go down to cell A97 and copy all of that down. I just grabbed this little blue dot and drug it all the way down to cell 97. All right, while this is highlighted, I'm going to go ahead and format, number, and then come down here to custom date and time. And I'm going to say, okay, so a 3-letter month and then a 4-year date. That looks good. If you need to change this, you can click here and do 2-digit or 4-digit. I don't like 2-digit because it looks like a day and not a year. So like November 24 could be confusing to people whether it's the 24th of November or November 2024. So I like the 4-day here. You can just delete these as well and add them back in. So like here's 1 month, year, and you can add them in separately as well, whatever you want. It's really flexible. And then click apply. And now all my months are associated properly. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in the grid for this table. So I like to go from the bottom to the top when I highlight a table. So I'm going to go from the bottom all the way to the top over to column D and then put in those borders. All right. Now we are ready to rock and roll. So loan amount. Let's do a $15,000 loan. If you work my numbers with me, you can test to see if yours are working as you see mine doing stuff. And then let's do 7.5%. And our length, let's do a 5-year loan. And our extra payments of, let's say, $20. We'll format these real quick. So because I typed in the percent symbol, it converted this already to percent, so that's good. If you didn't do that, you can click here and hit percent. It might change the number some huge number. Just type it down to a regular number. I'm going to put $1 in here and a dollar amount in here. I probably don't need, I'm probably not going to borrow like 16 cents. So I'm going to actually get rid of, whoops. I'll just leave it. Doesn't really matter. All right. So far, so good. Oh, one last thing. I'm going to go ahead and bold these headings. I think they look a little nicer that way. And that's it for now. So we've got our data set up. Now we just got to go through and do all the calculations. See you in the next video.